to the Tristan Law Show. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Tristan Law, semi-retired pro wrestler, and today, I'm your host. She is one of the most decorated women in WWE history, and she's also one of the most hated. Because here's the real question. Is Ric Flair here? Is Charlotte Flair where she's supposed to be because of Ric Flair? Or is it because, it's because she's great on her own? Well, today, we're not just slapping the Nepo baby label on Charlotte Flair. We're pulling it apart because whether you love her or hate her, she's forcing all of us to ask, what does it really mean to earn something in the pro wrestling business? I'm going to break down why fans turned on her, what that promo with Tiffany Stratton a few weeks ago meant. And spoiler, I don't think it really matters as much as people say, but we're going to get into that. But let's start with what we're talking about here. What is a Nepo baby? And does the label automatically discredit your success? If it's your first time here and you don't like my ugly muggly face already, that's fine. 6 days after every live episode, wherever you find a podcast, you can catch the Tristan Law Show. Make sure you hit subscribe when you get there. So what's a Nepo baby? A Nepo baby is short for nepotism baby. You know what? If you didn't know, well, now you know. It refers to a celebrity or someone in a similar industry whose career is believed to have advanced and or benefited from having famous or influential appearance. Let's take a look at some Nepo babies that you might know. Ava Raine. Ava Raine, her dad is The Rock. She's currently in NXT. You got Rey Mysterio. With his son, Dominic Mysterio. And looking outside of pro wrestling, you got Zoe Kravitz, the daughter of Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz. And you got names like Jaden and Willow Smith, the parents, the children of Will and Jada Smith. Nepo babies, right? So let's set the stage here. The term Nepo baby, it might be subjective, but Charlotte Flair fits the whole story. But is it the whole story? We're going to look in that. Being the daughter of Ric Flair comes with spotlight and pressure. Her dad is a 16-time world champion. Can't even deny that any way you look at it. He's one of the most, her dad, Ric Flair, is one of the most well-known pro wrestlers in the world who didn't even spend that much time in the WWE. Ric Flair has spent more time outside of the WWE than he is, and he's still well known. Wherever you go, everybody knows Ric Flair. Whoa, the Nature Boy. Her dad was one of the greatest wrestlers of his time. When you look at people's Mount Rushmore, 9 times out of 10, there's always the head of Ric Flair there. When you look at Charlotte Flair, though, she made an early attempt to carve out her own lane. And I think it's hard to stay in your own lane when your parents gave you a name that already has prestige to it. She went by the name Charlotte Flair. Charlotte. When she first started, she used the name Charlotte, and she didn't use the last name Flair. Look, I get it so much. She wasn't really getting over with the fans, though, just going with Charlotte. Because when you look at them, it's like you go, we know that your father is Ric Flair. And it's like, sometimes it just comes down to the point of, why are you even going to try to deny it? Just embrace it at this point. It is what it is. Your daddy's Ric Flair. Your mama's Miss Flair. You're a Charlotte Flair. The end. That's it. Thanks for coming. But I think when Charlotte finally embraced the legacy, but I think she really broke out when she decided to build on top of it. When she embraced the name Flair, she walked to the ring with a different swagger. She had a little bit more confidence, a little bit more pep in her step when she was coming to the ring. Her dad even accompanied her for a short time in her career to the ring, just to give her a little bit of rub. To say, hey, you know what? Y'all think this is my daughter? Or you're assuming this is my daughter? This is my daughter because we are here together. Charlotte's character needed it, but eventually she was able to stand on her own. Coming up soon on the Tristan Law Show channel, we're going to be doing the Pro Wrestling Scorecard. It's where we break down the legends, the icons, and the game changers one score at a time. There's 4 categories, 1 final score, no bias, no fluff, just the facts. Who's the GOAT and who's just good? That's what we're going to be taking a look at. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you can be in the know for when it starts, because it is coming real soon. It's not going to be live. It's something that's going to be really different that we do here on the Tristan Law Show, and I think that you're going to like it. Looking at Charlotte Flair carving her own path. When you look at her athletic background, she is a 2-time high school volleyball champion. And she played volleyball in college too. All right, well, what does that have to do with pro wrestling? It brings out her athleticism, because her athleticism outside of pro wrestling is something that her dad never had. And that's what Charlotte Flair brings to the table. Because her dad is a good wrestler. Nobody's going to deny that. But Charlotte Flair's a good wrestler too. Regardless of how you feel about Charlotte Flair, can you really deny that she's a good wrestler? But what makes her stand apart from her dad and outside of the shadow is her own athleticism within her own right. Give her that. Give her that. You can't take that from her. When you look at Charlotte Flair, she has a certain physicality and discipline about her that also make her stand out. But it also added pressure to her as well too, because she's the daughter of Ric Flair, the nature boy. I'm sure that her peers looked at her and said that, you know what, she's being handed everything that she's supposed to, that she's getting. And I'm sure that there are, wrestling fans that feel the same exact way as well too. That Charlotte Flair is just getting whatever she wants. But she had to be disciplined. She had to be extra physical in the ring, because she had to stand out. Because she didn't want to embrace the last name Flair. When she finally embraced the last name Flair, look, your name means good things. You have to do something with it. But I don't think that Charlotte was really just handed everything. Because Charlotte Flair showed up to the Performance Center. She showed up to the WWE and she was ready to work. She knew she had a target on her back. And she wasn't the first generation wrestler to either fail or succeed. You got next generation wrestlers like The Rock, who his father was Rocky Johnson, his grandfather was a wrestler, his whole family is just wrestling. You got Natalya Neidhart, her dad was Jim the Anvil Neidhart, right? Her uncles are Bret and Owen Hart. The British Bulldog, those are her family, right? You got Bret Hart himself. His dad was a wrestler. Tamina Snuka. Tamina Snuka is the daughter of the Superfly, Jimmy Snuka. When there are wrestlers in the pro wrestling business who haven't really done anything with that last name, not to say that any of the names I just named didn't do anything. A lot of them have done a lot of things, some bigger than others. But when you come with a last name that has prestige about it, the lane is already carved out for you. When your dad is probably on everybody's Mount Rushmore, how can she show up and just not work hard? She's just going to think that they're just going to give it to her because her last name is Flair. And I know that you right now, if you're a Charlotte Flair hater, you may feel the same as way too. That she just showed up and they just said, here, take this. But when you look at Charlotte Flair's reason to wrestle, she didn't wrestle because her last name was Flair. It just made it easier for her. She didn't show up to wrestle because it was what she was supposed to do. Charlotte Flair showed up to pro wrestling because of a tragedy, not a privilege. Her brother, Reed Flair, who was probably destined to be the second person with the last name Flair to do big things, but he sadly passed away too soon. That motivated Charlotte to fulfill the legacy and become the second person with the last name Flair to do big things in the pro wrestling business. Look, this is about honoring Reed and not chasing clout. And honoring she has an honor she has done while making a name for herself and stepping away from her dad's spotlight. Look, if you see Charlotte Flair here at one time, Charlotte Flair and Ric Flair were right here, right? But now Charlotte Flair is here and Ric Flair is here. They've carved out their own way. But with Charlotte losing her brother, when you hear her tell the story, The story is genuine because it's true, and it adds a depth to her character and her career. That is her reason. That is her why. That is why Charlotte Flair shows up every single week or every day to do what it is that she has to do. When you look at the grind of Charlotte Flair, right? Charlotte quickly rose up in the ranks and Charlotte was in pro wrestling at the right time. She was there when women were started to finally be taken seriously in pro wrestling. When you looked at people like Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Moné, Bayley, and even Charlotte Flair, they were at the top. And I think that those women, they competed with each other and they each made their individual stock rise. They became more than just bra and panty wrestlers, because that's what women were back in the day. They became more than a popcorn match and became the main event. But when you look at Charlotte Flair and her in-ring ability and stamina, she grew in real time. Charlotte Flair didn't get the ability to go in the indies and go cut her teeth there. Charlotte Flair is a WWE creation. And maybe that's why the reason people hate her so much is because she is a WWE creation. Maybe she got into the WWE because Ric Flair said to somebody, hey, look, just give my daughter a look. She's athletic and she wants to do this. Go ahead and give her the opportunity to see what she can do. Charlotte Flair is an in-ring storyteller. Her stamina is head and shoulders of where it should be. She takes her pro wrestling seriously, and you can see that in her, not only her body, but her body of work. Listen, when you talk about Charlotte's championship matches, she's always delivered when it's counted. She won her first WWE championship at NXT. She won the vacant women's championship after winning a tournament. She's beat some big names today and yesterday in order to win that first championship. Then she went on to the main roster and won the Divas Championship before the WWE Women's Championship was even reactivated. Like I said, Charlotte Flair was the first class of new generation wrestlers to not be divas. No bra and panties matches, no evening gown matches, just straight up wrestling, fighting. I think the issue, though, with Charlotte Flair, though, is that people began to resent her push. That she's being stuffed down your throat and that she's got the Golden Girl perception and WWE is booking her into main events. What about some of the big girls? Look, listen. If anybody wants Charlotte Flair's spot, go take the spot. Because when I look at Charlotte Flair, I think that Charlotte Flair is an awesome wrestler. She's a phenomenal wrestler. And she might be better than, she is better than a lot of the wrestlers out there today. Charlotte Flair is the creme de la creme. If Charlotte Flair wasn't in the main event, who else would they have put in the main event? Becky Lynch eventually got her time there. Bayley, has Bayley made it? Yeah, I think Bayley's main evented. Sasha Banks has done the same exact as well too. So it's like, maybe you're thinking, oh, maybe she's had too many title reigns. What else do you do with her? And there's times when you look, there was a time in the past couple of years that you look at the roster. If it's not Bayley, if it's not Asuka, if it's not Mercedes Moné, if it's not Charlotte Flair, then who is it? Maybe Natalya? That could be a story that could be told there. But you can't blame Charlotte Flair because it's not her fault. It's not her fault at all that all this is happening. It's WWE's fault. You don't decide what you do when you go to work. You go to work and somebody tells you this is what you're going to do, and that's why you're doing it. And that's why I'm sitting here with you so early today, because somebody at my job told me that I got to show up early. So in order for me to show up early, I had to sit here with you today. And I'm not complaining about it. We all got a job to do. We all have a job to do. And that's just Charlotte's job. So you can't really be mad at Charlotte Flair or fault Charlotte Flair because of how the WWE is booking her. I dare you right now, well, not right now when we're done, but have you ever seen a bad Charlotte Flair match? Okay, don't even hold anything against her for when she first started, because when you look at most people's first wrestling matches, it was trash. Maybe one day I'll decide I'll come out there and I'll show my first wrestling match to y'all so that you can see it. But you know what? I keep it hidden on YouTube because I know it's not that great. Because I know for the things that came for me in the future, that pro wrestling wrestling match was not even on something that I shouldn't even be talking to anybody about. Charlotte Flair right now is that when Charlotte Flair shows up, you know how they call John Cena, what is it, Big Match John? Or they call Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso? I think for Jey Uso it's more of just a word right now, because he's not even main eventing WrestleMania. How much sense does that make? Something for us to talk about at a later time. But like, Charlotte Flair always brings that big match energy every single time that she shows up. Tell me that I'm wrong. Charlotte Flair always brings that big match energy every single time. I think that Charlotte Flair is going to turn into the heel that we've all been waiting for. Because when you look at her recent promo with Tiffany Stratton, or the story that she's doing with Tiffany Stratton right now, I feel that there's a mixture of real and entertainment. Listen to me when I tell you this. Do not get worked into a shoot. Okay? It's entertainment. Take it for whichever way that you want. But this is one of the things that makes pro wrestling special. Pro wrestling, yes, pro wrestling is a television show that takes place with athletes. And no matter when you watch it, unless otherwise stated, you always assume that it's happening in real time. And because the lines are so blurred between the characters and the people that portray the characters, you can always sprinkle a little bit of real life and just add some salt to it. They put a little bit of sazon on the story. Look, you think that Charlotte Flair is going to go out there and air out dirty laundry? That Ludwig Kaiser, the partner, the boyfriend of Tiffany Stratton, is in her DMs on Instagram? Look, it could be true, but it might not be true. But just be entertained, because you don't know. And that's the best part. You know 100% that it's going to be a good match between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. But you know what? When it comes to being a WWE fan, WWE fans don't really care about good matches. What WWE fans really care about is the entertainment aspect. They want the sports entertainment, because that's what we've been ingrained to want to digest. When you are watching AEW is where you always expect a good match. You're not there for the storytelling. You go to AEW to watch the 10,000 Canadian Destroyers, the 10,001 Super Kicks, the 5 pile drivers, and watch the guy get up and walk around like nothing had happened. In the WWE is telling stories. The WWE is Broadway in a pro wrestling ring. The WWE is a movie, a cinematic story in a pro wrestling ring. AEW, they're just a stunt show. Watch AEW. Watch AEW if you don't believe that I'm telling the truth. AEW is just a stunt show, and WWE themselves, they are telling stories. There's nothing wrong with how AEW does their wrestling. It's just for a different kind of wrestling fan. Do I enjoy some stuff that AEW does? Of course. Do I like a good wrestling match? Of course. But what I'm really looking for is that when I'm wasting my 3 hours when I could be doing something to prepare this podcast or grow in some kind of personal, professional way, I need to be entertained. And for me, a good old wrestling match just doesn't do it for me. I said it. Hate me if you want. When Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair are in the ring, and they're sitting there cutting promos on each other, talking about Tiffany Stratton's a diva in the horsewoman's era, that she didn't need the Flair name. Look, in the horsewoman's era, it's 100% right, because something like that could cut somebody like Tiffany deep, because she would totally fit in to the Divas era. She's pretty, she's cute, but you know what? Tiffany could hold her own weight. Tiffany would have probably been the person that's like the anti-diva, and I think that Tiffany came along at the right time, because she gives Charlotte Flair somebody that can give her a run for her money. But I think that if Tiffany had came a couple years earlier, she would have been too young. But if she had gotten to the game, let's say almost 10 years ago when Charlotte was out there doing her thing, look, man, It would have been a sight to see. It would have been a sight to see. And you know, we are getting that. And what we're also getting is that Charlotte Flair is leaning into the hate. She is leveling up her character. Her character is evolving right in front of us. Yo, instead of, Charlotte Flair doesn't have to be a babyface. I don't like babyface Charlotte Flair. I like when Charlotte Flair comes because look, if your dad is the dirtiest player in the game, why can't you be the dirtiest bitch in the game? Why can't you, does Charlotte Flair have to go out there and smile all the time? I like when Charlotte Flair comes out there and she just got her hands held out and the fireworks are going off behind her, akin to WrestleMania 24 when her dad wrestled Shawn Michaels in his last match. That Charlotte Flair doesn't even have to smile. Charlotte Flair doesn't even blink an eye because Charlotte Flair just knows that she is just that damn good. You have to admit, despite anything that you may have think that Charlotte has been getting, that Charlotte Flair is just that damn good. Despite anything that you may have think that Charlotte has been getting, hate Charlotte Flair if you want to. But Charlotte Flair's got some accolades. Charlotte Flair has got more accolades than Jesus has disciples. Look, 2016, the Baltimore Sun said that she was the WWE Female Wrestler of the Year. CBS Sports said in 2018 the match of the year between Asuka, Becky Lynch, and TLC Table, Ladders, and Chairs. Pro Wrestling Illustrated in 2016, Feud of the Year with Sasha Banks. Rookie of the Year in 2014. Woman of the Year in 2016. Match of the Year in 2023 with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 39 and ranked #1 of the top 50 female wrestlers in the PWI 50 in 2016. So what are we really saying about Charlotte Flair? I wasn't done yet because Rolling Stone said that she's the #2 of #10. She's 2 out of 10 best wrestlers in the WWE in 2016. Sports Illustrated ranked her #2 out of the top 10 wrestlers in 2018. 6-time WWE Raw Women's Champion, 7-time SmackDown Women's Champion, 1-time Diva Champion, and she was the last Diva Champion. She was 2-time NXT Women's Champion. She had the WWE Tag Team Championship 1 time with Asuka, the 5th Women's Triple Crown Wrestler, and I'm choking. I'm choking. 1 time with Asuka, the 5th Women's Triple Crown Wrestler. Oh shit. All right, my bad. I'm getting a little bit too carried away here. Charlotte Flair is the 5th, #5 Triple Crown winner in the women's division in WWE history. Do you know who's the #5 Triple Crown winner in the men's division? It's Stone Cold Steve Austin. If you are putting Stone Cold Steve Austin and Charlotte Flair in the same exact category, yo, can you really say she's not that good? Okay, let's keep going. She was the 4th Women's Grand Slam champion. She won the NXT Women's Championship Tournament in 2014. That's how she got her first belt. She won the Royal Rumble in 2020 and then again in 2025. And it's like, should I keep going? Should I keep going? What is the problem with Charlotte Flair? She's got some accolades. Yes, it's pro wrestling. You know, let's take away all the belts, right? She's giving all the belts. But Baltimore Sun is not a wrestling It's not a wrestling publication. CBS Sports is not a wrestling promotion. The Rolling Stone and Sports Illustrated, that's not a wrestling publication. If you want to look even further, Pro Wrestling Illustrated is not something that is sanctioned by the WWE. The WWE doesn't even acknowledge it. If you don't know that Pro Wrestling Illustrated or the Wrestling Observer even exists on your own, WWE doesn't talk about it. You don't know. I'm probably putting you on right now. So when you look at all those accolades from non-sanctioned WWE, mediums, can you really say that Charlotte's bad? Can you really hate Charlotte? Let me know in the comments. You made it this far. Let me know in the comments what's the problem with Charlotte Flair. But right now, Charlotte Flair is owning the resentment. Resent her? Her dad is Ric Flair, and she is Charlotte Flair. So what? That's the energy that Charlotte walks out there with. She is Charlotte Flair. My dad is Ric Flair. So what? I am the queen, and if you want to be the queen, they say, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. In order to be the queen, you got to beat the queen. And look, man, I don't think many people can whoop Charlotte Flair. So, let's go back to the original question. So is Charlotte a Nepo baby? Yeah, definitely. she fits the label. But being a Nepo baby doesn't define her success. Her hard work does. And Charlotte Flair has done a lot of hard work just to get up to where she is today. Because no matter what, you can inherit an opportunity, but you can't inherit greatness. There's been plenty of times that I've wanted an opportunity in my life, and I've said to people, look, if you just get me to the front door, I can go ahead and do the rest myself. And I've said to people, look, she was given an opportunity, Charlotte Flair, partly because of her last name, and it was all hers to lose. Charlotte Flair, she set the bar for future wrestlers who have parents in the pro wrestling business. Charlotte Flair, she set the bar for future wrestlers who have Charlotte Flair is one of the best. You have to admit, she's one of the best women's wrestlers. Let me just even open the door even more. Charlotte Flair is probably one of the best wrestlers today across the board. Charlotte Flair could probably get in the ring with some of the best men wrestlers in the world and tell stories that you'd be like, damn. Being Ric Flair's daughter opened the door for Charlotte Flair, but Charlotte Flair, she broke down the house on her own. Whether you like it or not, you have to respect what Charlotte has built on her own. So tell me, what do you think? Would Charlotte be successful without the last name Flair, or has she already proven that she doesn't use it? If you like what I did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My name is Tristan, and this is the Tristan Law Show. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back this Tuesday, and I've got so much cool stuff coming out for us because WrestleMania is almost here. And I have some the new series coming out, Pro Wrestling Scorecard. I can't wait to show that to you, and I really hope that you like it. This is the Tristan Law Show. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive, nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to